Hi, welcome to Talking and Reading from Japan. I'm your host, Hidemi Woods. Here, I read part of my memoirs I wrote and talk about it or talk about anything that pops up in my mind. I hope you enjoy with me. Today, I'll read an episode from one of the books I wrote, titled The Girl in Kyoto. This is one of my memoirs, and today's episode will be Clover wrestling. This episode is about a girl I got acquainted with when my house was being rebuilt. Clover wrestling. When the construction company executive disappeared with my family's money, his wife came to our place with his daughter. She wanted us to know that she wouldn't shelter him, that she didn't have any idea of his whereabouts either, and how sorry she felt. She begged not to report to the police. While the grave meeting was held, I was sent to play outside with his daughter. I was 9, and she was a year or two younger. I used to be shy and wasn't good at being friendly with someone so quickly. But with her, I got along so well at once for some reason. Along the narrow way at the back of my house, clovers grew rampantly. I taught her how to play clover wrestling, and it became uncontrollable fun. I had never laughed so hard so much in one day. That was the most fun I had ever had in my life. We promised to play together again, and she left with her mother. I've never seen her since. As her father's body was found in a gutter a couple of years after the day we became friends, I wonder how her life turned out and how she is now. I hope she's happy somewhere now. That was today's episode. This happened when my family's house was rebuilt on this very same spot where the old one stood. And so we demolished the old house that stood there, that has stood there over 100 years, for 100 years. And so it had become too old to live. The walls are crumbling down, and leaking were everywhere. And so my family summoned enormous courage to rebuild the house. So it was a really, really big event for my entire family. but um, the constructor company was turned out to be a wicked fraud company, and that company was had a nice credit, and it was a local trusted company. But when they took on our contract, the executive suddenly heard a voice of devil, and he he lost in the enticed scheme to get rich, and he ran away with all the money we paid. And the of course, the payment for the carpenters was stopped, and the executive who ran away was didn't take his family with him. He just ran away by himself. So nobody knew where he was. And it was a really mess. And my family called his wife to try to know what was happening to him. And his wife came to my house to explain that she didn't know what was happening either, let alone his whereabouts. She was as shocked as we were. And at that time, our family lived in the barns that stood next to the old house. And although the old house was completely demolished and the new one was just only a frame of wooden sticks, but we refurbished the barns to be able to be lived, and we lived there. And the executive's wife and daughter visited that barns. And the talk between his wife and my family was quite grave and serious, supposedly contentious, as you can imagine. And so her daughter and I was sent to outside. And I still remember the fun we had that day, because I wasn't not social in those days, probably still not so social and so shy, and I didn't like to be with someone else. But in that particular day, something was really different, and I became friends. I became, we became good friends instantly, and I taught her Clover wrestling. Clover wrestling is, have you ever played Clover wrestling by any chance? It's you pull a clover, pick up a clover from the ground, and then peeled that root from along with a stem, and then clover has a, thin thread thread-like thing inside the stem. And so when you remove a stem, it looks like clover leaves are hanging down at the end of a thread. So it was really like yo-yo. And so wrestling is played by it's so dangling leaves are wrestling together between two of the contenders. And after being dangled together, the leaves, we pull to each side, and if leaves are severed from a thread, you lose. And if your leaves stay on the edge, at the end of a thread, you win. That's Clover wrestling. I invented it in a way. And for some reason, it was so much fun. And it's nice, fun, good memories. One of good memories of my childhood. It remains like that. But after that, her mother called her and they left. And we didn't have a chance to get together again. And a couple of 2 years later, maybe, I read about his father in a newspaper that said he was found dead in a gutter, probably killed by someone. I think he had debt from somebody not so safely trusted, and the one he was the one who he borrowed money from was probably someone we shouldn't have borrowed. And for that debt, I suspect he stole our family's money. Maybe he was gambling, I guess, and he needed money and a big amount of money for building the entire house. Was really charming for him. And he was enticed, and he just took that money and I guess probably gambled more to pay debt. But as the world goes, debt increased more, and eventually he couldn't pay, and then he was killed for his debt. And I felt scary about what happened to him, what ending was prepared for him who stole and took and ran away with somebody's money. And the first thing that came to my mind was that girl. I felt so sorry for her. I was so worried about what was happening to her from now on. And I still don't know how she was doing or how everything went for her. But I really, really hope that she's okay. She managed to go through all those things. So by any chance, really, really slight chance, if you happen to see this, Akemi, I hope, I wish best for you. As for my house, it after those fiasco, we was able to finish construction, and it was newly rebuilt by help with my my grandmother's cousin, who happened to be a construction, who happened to run his own construction company. He did it for us as one of our relatives in a really, really very low cost. And he finished constructing the house for us with almost no payment. And that was what happened when our old house was demolished and our new house was rebuilt. It didn't go that smoothly. It was a big surprise and chains of unexpected events for our family, and it I can say it ended it well, except for Akemi's father. But as I said, I hope she is now well and fine and happy. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. I'm Hidemi Woods. I hope you come back here again and join me my reading of my book. Thanks again. If you are interested, my books or my songs are available at my website, hidemiwoods.com, HIDEMI woods.com, where all the links are available, and also links to my blogs, my YouTube, my SNS, and merchandise that I designed and merchandise that has my original illustrations. So if you like, visit there. Thanks again, and until next time, take care and be well.